All right. Mabinogi New Rise. It's been a decisive update, and everyone keeps asking me, what do you think about it, Hero? What are your takes on this? And I figured I'd make a video just kind of talking about it, open dialogue with everyone, so that way we can talk about why you think it's good, why you think it's bad. I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions, and just a reminder, this is just how I feel about the update. I'm more on the casual side when it comes to the game. I play it in my free time. I make content about it, but am I under no means a pro player sweating my ass off every day? um, so take that with a grain of salt, but I figured we'd talk about it. All right. The first thing I absolutely love about this update is gear getting a rarity system and everything being a 3-line rule for reforges. Now, if you're just coming into the game, you might not know what it was like before, but there was an item in the game called reforges where you could get extra stats on your items, and you had a chance of getting anywhere from 1 to 3 lines of extra stats. So for example, it could be like smash bonus, windmill bonus, and then like rage impact bonus. But sometimes you would only get 1, and then you have to keep rolling and rolling and rolling the 1 to hopefully increase it to 2 lines. New Rise got rid of that, so everything is just 3-line equipment. So that takes a lot of RNG out of something that was already kind of gambling. It was just straight up gambling. I love that they got rid of that. It's great, and it just makes life easier. If I'm being honest, I thought it was a trash system. It's still kind of trash. Again, it's a lot of RNG, but it's even less RNG now, which is great. So to expand on the rarity system, I like it because now it gives players a new way to have easy access to gear to kind of push them to the next level. And that rarity system is what makes it kind of not devalue the work other people have put in. So if you handcrafted your gear or you bought it crafted from someone, you're going to be in that Masterworks category, the top tier, the gold tier. And that's not something most new players are going to get, or even people not crafting their gear is going to get. And just because, you know, from like gray, common, all the way to like epic, I think it's called exquisite in Mabinogi, that's reserved for drops and chests. So I think it's a great system. I love it. I know some people hate it because we're getting so much drops. Like most chests tend to drop gear now, and people are like, whoa, my inventory's filling up, I hate that shit. And like, yes, it sucks for you, your inventory's filling up, but it's great for new players. It kind of gives you that dopamine rush of like, all right, let me do this again, right? Now this kind of plays into the rarity system a little bit, the constant gear drops from dungeons, and that's the Shine Seeker dungeon. Overall, I like it. It's fun to have like this burst content where you're going in, you're killing things quickly. It's made to be short, you're getting new gear, and you get three of these runs a day. The dopamine hit from this is fun, and every run I'm trying to see how much faster I can do it. And it's not like anything game breaking for me, just because I'm kind of at the point where I'm trying to go from mid game to end game and get geared up from there. But for new players, this dungeon would be extremely beneficial. Now, for me personally, I love it. People hate it because they feel like they're not getting shit from it. But there's a few things in there that I have my eyes on, and it's the Void Robe and the wings, the corrupted wings. If you go into your dungeon guide, you can see it. Cool stuff. Overall, I like it because it gives new players, this is like early to mid game players, it gives them a way to get gear. Personally, I find it fun to run. And another great benefit to this is all the equipment that drops. You can use this new inheritance system, right? So if you see a piece of gear that drops in there and it has a good reforge, you can actually transfer it over to another piece of gear and just kind of move on from there, right? So for example, I don't know, if you get a sword that has max damage 20 out of 20, you could theoretically transfer that to your main weapon and carry that reforge over. I think this is great. I love it. Have I used it a lot? No. If I'm being honest, I check all my reforges on the gear that drops. I've seen maybe one piece of gear that had something I wanted, but overall there's you know what, depending on what class you play, I think there is potential there. I think it's good. Do I hate it? No. Do I see much people complain about Shine Seeker? Not really. That's not where the growing pains are with it, but overall I like it. The inheritance system is cool because as you're upgrading weapons as well, right? You gotta think, before you used to have to worry about buying new enchants for it, erging it. It was a lot. It could be a lot of time invested into a weapon, and then when you wanted to jump to another one, it'd be a lot more money and time invested into it. But now you kind of cut that out of the equation, being able to destroy that old weapon but carry all the stats over. I think this is a W. All right. I think probably the biggest decisive thing, Nearite. People hate it. And I'm not gonna lie, I like the idea of it. I don't like the execution. So with Nearite, it's essentially an item for older content such as techs, hard mode dungeons, and what else? Alright, I just had to double check, but it's just from techs and hard mode dungeons. Now, essentially the way this works, it gives you increased chance of getting better loot. And again, on paper, it sounds great. I love the idea of it, but the execution, man, is piss poor. Like, I don't think it makes a big difference using it. Now, there's some content that you run, if you don't use Nearite, you just don't get material drops, which is dog shit. I think you should get a chance at getting something that isn't just gear. You know, all chests without a doubt drop gear. If it's one piece of gear, two pieces of gear, if it's common, you know, all chests drop that. But with Nearite, you're supposed to use it, and you have a chance at getting materials to either use to craft better gear or to sell. Now, the problem with this, right? You only get 10 Nearite a week. If you're running content, that goes really fast. Really fast. Like, I can bang out those 10 Nearites within 30 minutes. And I know new players aren't going to do that, and they're trying to push players to run other content, but the issue is you got to run some of this old content to craft current gear to get into the new content, which becomes a whole messy loop of, okay, now we're just restricted in what we can run. And the drop rates, again, are negligible. Like, I don't think they really make a big difference outside of making sure you get something other than gear drops. It's goofy, man. I wish they would have worked on this a little bit more, refined it a little bit better. Why did I say better instead of better? But in all seriousness, it's executed very poorly, and like I said, on paper it's a great idea, but they just kind of missed the mark with it. And it's whether all they have to do is kind of boost drop rates, make sure we have a chance of getting drops from a chest if we're not using Nearite. I don't know. There's things they can do. Again, I'm not the one developing the game, but they could just make it feel a little bit better, a little bit more rewarding. So that way when you run out of Nearite, you're not like, oh fuck, I gotta wait until next week to play. And I don't know, the execution on the Nearite, they were so close. They were so close, but just kind of missed the mark. Now, I don't know how they can fix this. Personally, what I would do is grant a little bit more if they're not going to increase the drop rate, or slightly boost the drop rate, give us a few more and it would feel better, but I don't think they're going to do that. Like, ideally, in a perfect world, if they weren't going to give us increased drops, give us 20. Double it, give us 15. Hell, I'd be happy with that. But inherently, as a system, it doesn't feel good. And I think that's what's missing the mark. A lot of people hate that. You know, it's just when you're out of Nearite, there's little to no reason to run this older content, such as techs and LB dungeons, whatnot, hard mode dungeons. All right, the biggest and most, I think, decisive part of this is the gutting of content. Now, personally, as somebody with limited time, this older content where you have to run it over and over and over and over with Mabinogi's dog shit up drop rates, it's great. I love it. If I'm being honest, I think cutting older content to make it a little bit shorter, a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more friendly to run over and over and over is great. Now, a lot of old players hate this. A lot of endgame players hate this. I kind of get it because you're removing the grind that so many people spent years upon years of doing. But why would you complain if they're kind of streamlining things, making it faster for you to get through the content so that way you can try and get the things that you need? Again, somebody with limited time such as myself, I love it. It's fucking boring as shit when you have to run the content alone because you're playing in off hours and people already hit their limits. They're not looking to run any more content. A lot of Mabinogi's player base is AFK, or you get these gigas who absolute chads who play solo. So you're stuck doing it alone, and if you're not at the level of where you can clear it fast and efficiently, these long dungeons were tedious to do alone. And I think kind of streamlining older content to be a little bit, like, not even a little bit, it's a lot faster. They made things easier, faster. I personally think it's great, but I do understand the criticisms of where people are coming from, where Mabinogi feels like a shell of its former self. But I will say, with this change and spending some time with it, I've been focusing on other areas of Mabinogi a lot more. Like, I've been absolutely grinding out Finny gems to sell and make money there. I've been dabbling in life skills a lot more, farming phantasmal remnants, so that way I always have a surplus and I can sell extra that I don't need. I get the criticisms, I really do, but because of this shift, I'm spending more time in Mabinogi doing other things, which kind of feeds into that fantasy life aspect, right? If I wanted to progress, I felt like I was doing the free time I did have. I was exclusively doing content such as, dungeons and whatnot, and Tex and Croms and Glenn, and now there's Bree, which I haven't even touched yet, but it just felt like there was so much to do and not enough time. And this is kind of giving me that time. It's not even giving me that time, it's forcing me to look at other aspects of the game, which I appreciate. I think they could have just, I don't know, to play devil's advocate, I think they could have maybe executed it a little bit better. But what a lot of people are forgetting, we're getting a New Rise Part 2 in December, and that should fix a lot of things. I'm hoping. Now, mind you, I don't know, but I do hope that, I think it's a step in the right direction. Again, I just feel like the execution was a little missed, if I'm being honest. If I'm being perfectly honest. Now, to talk about some of the criticism I've seen online, people have been complaining about the difficulty being gone. And I can get that. While they did make content shorter, they also made it easier, which is a 50-50 toss-up for me. I love that I can clear it faster, but I kind of get the point of difficulty being missing from certain content. Now, the reason I think that's happening, if I'm being transparent and completely honest, I think Mabinogi kind of boxed himself into a point where they hit endgame back in the day and they didn't sufficiently adjust things. Like, we had so much power creep over the years in the sense of like, okay, you get Stardust, okay, you get Arcanas, and now if you have all of those, you can blow through this content pretty easily to begin with. And they're like, shit, if all the players have this much power and this is what we consider endgame, how do we fix this? And I think what they're doing is shifting the goalposts for what most people would consider endgame. And so now what people considered endgame is going to be more mid-game, you know? And I think that's great. And I get people's frustrations, but I personally love it. It opens the ceiling a little bit more. They seem to be a little bit more thoughtful with how can we make this content moving forward to be like true endgame. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but that's kind of like my thoughts on it. I think they're moving the goalposts of what people think difficult content should be to make new content that's actually difficult and more adjusted with all the new mechanics we have. That's what I think. Now, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. We'll see as time goes on. But those are my thoughts on difficulty and like the gutting of content. Another thing I see a lot of people talking about is drop rates. And like I kind of mentioned early on in the video, I do agree that the drop rates are dog shit without Nearite. And I really, really do think they need to kind of rework that system, make changes. And everyone's concerns and complaints about Nearite is completely valid. Like, I don't think I can even contest any of those complaints. Like, looking at what people are saying about Nearite, or Nearite, I'm gonna call it Nearite. I think it's valid because, like I mentioned, like, you run this content, if you don't have Nearite, you're not getting shit except for, you know, the massive amounts of gear that just drops from the chest. Like, you can run certain content, X and Y, and hit it with the Nearite, and you might get crafting materials. But without it, it's rough. It's rough. You're not going to see crafting materials. Like, I don't know. Like I was saying, I think Nearite should boost the drop rates of seeing crafting material, but I think you should still have a chance at getting crafting material without Nearite, if I'm being honest. It's just, right now, fundamentally, it feels bad. And I hope maybe they change it by either boosting the drop rates or giving us more Nearite, but right now it's rough. And I'm interested to see how people feel with it over time, if people will just kind of submit and accept it or keep voicing their opinions. I really, really do hope people keep voicing their opinions. Now, another big issue people have been having is before you could load into content, even if you were at your weekly limit and you just wouldn't get drops. But now, if you maxed out on your runs, you can't even go in to help other people to kind of learn that content to make sure they reach their weekly limits. And that feels bad, man. It feels bad. I know they're probably doing it to stop botting or alt accounts and shit like that, but it feels bad. It feels bad. I hope they change this. Another complaint that I can't even contest, and I agree wholeheartedly with, is entry limits. Having a hard stop on them sucks. It's not good. It's not good. I don't know how they could fix it, especially if they're worried about botting and stuff like that, but hopefully they do something. All right, and I almost missed this, but reduce gold drop rates. It's rough. I get that they're trying to balance out the economy, but gold, they significantly decreased that you would see in Shadow Wizard Elite being dropped on the floor. What other contents? I noticed the hard mode dungeons, that's dropped there as well as the text. I noticed a decrease in gold being dropped there. Rabby Phantasm is a great spot for gold, but I do get why people are complaining. From my experience, it seems like they almost cut it in half across the board of how much gold you would see dropped on the ground. And I'm sure everyone out there who in the past neglected picking up gold off the ground, they're punching the air right now. I guarantee it. Me, I would always stop and pick that shit up. Believe it. But overall, I think the goal with this is they want to balance the economy overall, so that way you see auction house prices drop and deflate, and people think more about how they're gonna get gold. The thing with that is I'm torn on this because, again, it makes you think about other aspects of Mabinogi. How am I gonna make gold? Am I gonna life skill? Am I gonna do this? But people hate being pushed to do other things that they don't want to do. So in terms of like how I would tackle this, I don't know, man. If I'm being honest, it's devil's advocate, tricky ass situation. I honestly don't know how I would make everyone happy. Maybe I would buff it a little bit more from how much they decreased it, but still kind of keep it low. Like they're here, bring it up a little bit instead of it where it was. I don't know. It to me with this, this whole update overall, I feel like is pretty good, but it just kind of feels like they overcorrect. They make big changes instead of constantly updating it over time, like you would see with most live service games. They would adjust it, people would complain, but the change would be slight enough to the point where a lot of people would be happy. They'd be like, okay, yeah, we get it. But Mabinogi tends to overcorrect. And that's been interesting to see. Overall, with the New Rise update, if I'm being honest, I think it's a step in the right direction. But fuck, man, are they really good at overcorrecting and pissing people off? I'd like to see some changes done to this overall format. I don't know, maybe some slight buffs, some slight changes to certain aspects, but we'll have to wait and see until New Rise 2, like part 2, drops in December. But I don't know, man. Overall, I like it. It doesn't feel bad to play. It's just when you hit certain aspects of this update, you're like, that sucks. And it's a tricky scenario because I get what they're trying to do. And I have hope that they're not going to steer us wrong, because this new director has been great at trying to bring life into the game. It's just, I don't know. It feels a little rough. It feels, I think the best thing with this update, now that I'm thinking about it to explain it, is it feels a little rushed. They wanted to make big changes. And I know Korea sat on this update for a few months, but I don't know, something about it feels a little forced, a little rushed. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it feels good to play, but it doesn't at the same time. I see where they're going, but the execution of it isn't quite right. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I think it's a great update, but kind of just missed the mark. Hopefully we see some changes, especially for North America, where our player base suffers compared to Korea. I'm hoping that, you know, for a period of time minimum, we get buffs for Nearite. You know, maybe see that removed once Unreal Engine drops and, you know, the game pulls in more people and our player base is bigger. But right now, for the size of our player base, this update just kind of hurts it. I don't know. It's tough, man. I love and hate it at the same time. It's like, shit. I don't know. That's enough of me yapping. I just kind of wanted to come on here, talk about it, yap about it, what I think, share my thoughts, so that way people aren't coming into my streams all the time and hitting me with, well, what do you think of this update, after I've gone on a 40-minute tangent about it. I wanted to make my thoughts a little bit more concise. And I'd love to hear what you think about it. So be sure to go scroll down below, drop a comment, tell me your thoughts. Open discussion, safe place, trying to keep it friendly. But yeah, I'd love to hear what everyone thinks. And yeah, it's the future of Mabinogi. It's looking good, but a few little missteps along the way. Anyways, that's all. Take care.